The Car Dealer podcast is sponsored by Autotrader. John, have you ever wondered why I, along with 14,000 other dealers, choose to partner with Autotrader?
Well, actually,
I didn't think so. I'll tell you anyway. With more than 84 million consumer visits every month, it connects us with more engaged car buyers and delivers more deals than anyone else in the UK. And now, with the launch of Buying Signals, we'll have brand new insights on every deal, showing how likely a customer is to buy the car they're interested in. Plus, as someone who set out to use AI and data as much as possible in my business, I've found their technology, data, and tools genuinely invaluable. But when I do get stuck,
which is, let's face it, most of the time,
Autotrader is always on hand and committed to supporting us to get the very best from our package. To find out how they can help you, visit trade.autotrader.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Car Dealer podcast, where we pick our favourite stories of the week and ask an industry guest to choose which were the best. That's exactly what they do. I'm not at all sleep deprived in the wrong country. I'm John Reay, and joining me this week is James Baggott, as usual, from his soundproof. Well, you look a bit like you've been hospitalised.
Feels that way, actually, but sounds much better from last week. I said to you, didn't I, last week, that now I'm in the boiler room, I need to make some improvements, and I've made the improvements. I say me. Guess who did it?
Was it Joe?
It was Joe, yeah. Joe did it. He's done a good job, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done a good job. I mean, you sound pretty good.
That's good. That's good for a podcast, isn't it?
It's ideal, really.
Yeah. How are you, John, anyway? Sorry?
How have you been?
I've been fine. There's a bit of a delay, isn't there, still? It must be the satellite link from Japan.
Most definitely. It's because I'm actually 9 hours ahead, so I speak first.
I get you. Okay. Sorry, that confuses me. It's all a little bit back to the future. How is your holiday, John? I know you're joining us again from your holiday. Is it all good?
It is all good. I did that thing of going to a car auction yesterday.
Of course you did. Busman's holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I assume all the Japanese people that come to the UK go and see Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, and BCA Blackbush.
Blackbush,
so,
yeah.
Following in a very similar trajectory. I did try and buy you a car, which didn't go very well. So
no?
I scoured the catalogues for what was coming up, and there was a very nice Mini inspired by Goodwood, which was a special edition that they made. Well, I say they made. Mini made it, and then they shipped it off to Rolls-Royce, and Rolls-Royce filled it with Rolls-Royce leather and carpet and put a cashmere headliner in it and covered it in wood, and then sold it in, this is about 2007 or something, sold it for 40 grand.
Did they really?
Yeah, I know.
I didn't realise it was that much when I put my bid in for you.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But anyway, we thought it would go for about 6 grand or something, didn't we? So that's what you bid. But it went for 12 and a half, this 2007, 2008 Mini. So sadly, I did not.
Did you go through, John? Was it Tokyo again?
It was Tokyo, yeah. So you don't have a Mini, but I do have a different exciting purchase to show you.
Oh, exciting. Don't you want to save it for Christmas?
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, yes, it's the cat jumper. It's the cat outfit. You've actually bought the cat outfit.
I have bought the cat outfit.
Are you going to wear that to the Christmas party?
That is my intention, yes.
Brilliant. Wow. So is that replacement for the hat that you're not wearing this week?
As well as, I would say.
This is all very confusing, isn't it? Oh, dear.
What's been going on in car sales land?
Well, no car sales, which is the important thing. No car sales. It's been very, very slow, and I've now got 32 cars in stock, so they need to start happening quickly. Yeah, it's expanded slightly. I managed to sort that parking out, so I've got additional storage space now, which is not far from our base point HQ, which is handy, which means we can expand the stock, which is obviously desperately needed. But we're obviously doing it at a time when there are no car sales happening. So yeah, it's very, very quiet. But December's quiet. It's nearly Christmas, isn't it? So it's going to be quiet.
Yeah. So good luck in January. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, shall I intro our guest?
Please.
Excellent. So joining us this week, I'm very pleased to say, is Sam Watts from used car dealer Family Car Guy. Sam, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Thanks for having me on.
Nice to see you, Sam. In your very what is it? Is it Devon you're based in, or you're Cornwall, aren't you?
Devon,
Devon.
Cornwall, come
Very.
on.
Sorry, sorry, God, I
Get on
shouldn't
to
have got
the
that
old
wrong.
jam
Should
and
I?
cream soon, won't we?
Yeah.
But the Devon,
Very,
hotness, yeah.
very nice to see you. So, how's business for you?
Oh well, just hearing about no car sales kind of makes me feel a bit better in a way. But no, it's very quiet December wise. And I remember last year we had an incredibly quiet December, and then at about a week before Christmas, for some reason people started to, I don't know, smash their cars everywhere and desperately need a car before Christmas. But um, we're not too concerned at all, but we're just getting ready. All our cars are pretty much ready to go, and just using this time to, be careful of the cash flow and uh, make sure the cars are tip top, ready for hopefully a bit of an uplift in leads and sales.
We certainly found that at this time of year, you just need to have everything ready to drive away, don't you? Because there's the chances of people turning up at the dealership who've just smashed their car up, as you've mentioned, is very, very high at this time of year. So having something that's ready to go makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
But it's a bit of a juggle, though, isn't it? So, I mean, James, you say you've got now 32 cars in stock. I mean, last year, how many did you have in stock?
What about this time last year? Probably about 13.
13. Yeah, I mean, to have the outlay to get all of those cars ready to go for January, you've got to be pretty certain to go through that expenditure, watching your cash flow and making sure that you really are ready to get them sold. Yeah, they are going to sell. They are going to shift, which I'm sure will happen. Historically it has, but we're being pretty cautious. I mean, there are a couple of little things on a few of the cars that we haven't got done, but if there's any major issues with them, they're done. Um, we've had to move. We've changed our stock profiles slightly in the last 6 months or so, and we've had to shift cars on, and we've shifted cars on having done all the work to them,
Mm.
and trying to get our money back on that has been very, very difficult. I think we've taken a loss on a few cars, not a huge loss, but who likes taking a loss? But so we're being really cautious that is this new stock profile right for us, and we haven't. There are still a few cars with just might just need a service. It needs a clean MOT, which we know is going to fly through, but any major mechanical issues have been rectified. So we're just not trying to drain the bank account this month
Yeah,
with
it's tricky.
getting all cars.
Tricky, isn't it? It's a tricky balance. Sam, you've been on the podcast before. For those people, new listeners out there, or those people watching on YouTube, who probably watched you on YouTube too, tell those people who don't know you a little bit about your business and how you've set up and got to where you are now.
So yeah, I think it was about August last year that I decided to go and buy a car. I had a bit of time on my hands and wanted to sort of dip my toe into the car industry. And I sort of saw the tech side of the car industry maybe was a little bit backward, and came from a bit of a tech background, and so I thought, right, I'm going to use some data, and I think that's when I started watching your videos, James. I started using some data and literally bought my first few cars purely on data, and then they sold very, very quick. And I thought, this can't be as easy as this, surely. And then, believe me, I then started getting some right old dogs in. But I was out of my trading out of my driveway, and then by October, I took on this barn office, converted barn, and we took the landlord had a load of a few car parking space, and I said, well, look, can we have a few more car parking spaces? And he went, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to sell really nice cars. And he went, all right then. So we literally had this office space which was £500 a month, and we've got about space for about 25 cars here.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is rural Devon. It's not on a main road, and I was like thinking, do we need to be on a main road? I don't think we really do. It would help, but because we thought, well, everything's online. People are going to find us online as long as they know where we are. That's absolutely fine. So we've just gone on that bit, and then we had an absolute stormer of beginning of the year. Over just after Christmas, January, February, March, actually screamed through there, shifted lots of cars. And then come June this year, June was an unlucky month, and we started to get, they're like buses all coming at once, coming back with big issues, timing chains breaking on cars of 40,000 miles on the clocks. Cars that you just wouldn't expect these issues to be happening, and it was just one after the other, and that was the point where it was like, right, we soldier through this. We've just got to get it. We've got to get these sorted out, and we did. But that went on for a couple of months at least, trying to sort them out, keeping the customers happy. We were loaning customers cars to keep them happy, which is looking back at it, a really bad thing to be doing, because it takes your cars out of stock. All these things I want to do to try and make the customer happy, because there is this thing in the industry that every car dealer is out there to leg you over and leave you in the lurch and on the side of the road. I didn't want to run the business that way. So it was a really tricky June, July, August. I went away in September and then came back, and then we're restocking. So it's been a difficult back end of 2025, but hence we've changed all our stock profile, and just keeping an eye on things. I mean, during the whole year, we have literally tested everything. We've had some high end cars in. We've had some bottom of the range cars. We've had everything in between. With advertising, we have tried absolutely everything. We've had the biggest package on Auto Trader. We've had motors. We've had car gurus. We've adjusted the packages to suit the vehicles we've got in stock. So we've gone and advertised at trade shows. The Devon County Show, we spent a lot of money doing that. We bought in a racing simulator to help us on the stand with that, which was great fun. So we have literally flown into it in year one, and always have to take a massive deep breath.
Take a breath. Sam, when we started our business, we looked at the data, and we still do, and we still stick to it rigidly. It's been a little bit harder now. We're doing quite a few imports. You have to sort of cross-reference the imported cars with equivalent UK models to try and make sure you're buying the right sort of stock. But we've stuck to that really carefully, and I mean, Auto Trader has certainly helped us with that. I mean, the retail ratings are pretty much our Bible, really. Have you said you started the business like that and it worked really well, and have you drifted away from that? Have you stopped using it? Are you now buying cars using gut feeling? I mean, what is the way? How do you stock your business?
Well, we started having cars that are hanging around on the forecourt for quite some time, on cars that should have been shifting within 20 days. And we're also finding those cars getting devalued by Auto Trader. Auto Trader's valuation was our stock was just decreasing in value by quite a lot. So I was looking at that really carefully, and then I was looking at other valuations, outside of Auto Trader valuations. And I was going, hang on a second. We've got, let's say we had a Discovery Sport, for instance. But we sell those cars like hotcakes down here. We really do. And, in the cities where they're used a lot, in, Exeter, Plymouth, London, the insurance on those cars have gone sky high. The demand for those have gone down. The value of those goes down, but people want them in rural Devon down here, we'd normally have about three of those cars in stock at any one time, and we would sell them within 2 or 3 weeks. Brilliant cars. Yeah, they do have their issues, but over the period of time, we'd learned how to buy the right ones, and we knew that we were buying a car with a problem, so that was okay, and we'd fix it, and we'd know how much it was going to cost to fix. But it's all about having the margin in. But so we started testing a few other ways of buying cars and selling them and advertising them at the price that we felt was right for that car for our area, and getting to know what our customers want down here and what they are prepared to pay for it. We're not trying to leg customers over. We're just trying to get a fair price for that car. So we were advertising cars outside of Auto Trader, advertising them on our website, at what would be a high price on Auto Trader, but customers are seeing them as a good price, fair price here. So we were getting greater margin for our vehicles. So then, of course, that makes you think, gosh, well, we're selling cars outside of Auto Trader. We're selling them for more, and we're paying Auto Trader. I think we were paying them £2,500 a month at that point. Do we really need this? So do we ramp up everything on our site, optimize it, and maybe have a presence with the car gurus and the motors? And so I then started redesigning my site. As I started redesigning it, I started to build on it, add bits and bobs, and then I started to create a platform, which now is a full-on DMS platform, which is designed to sort of help new car dealers coming into the industry, and young car dealers, with all the tools they need to be able to advertise the cars and to promote themselves in a way that, I mean, the site comes with a personalized website that they have. It's your usual upload your car with all your systems on it, and with all the invoicing and everything else like that. So I built this platform purely on the back end of what I was finding was working for us. And we are a small car dealership, and we need to make money, and we need to watch our overheads, specifically our advertising spend, and having a think about what's going to happen next. How are we all going to be searching for cars later on down the line? And then looking at the SEO side of things on a website, and actually really now how important that is, because we don't just need to optimize for Google and Bing and what have you. We need to optimize for these AI browsers that are now coming in, because soon our way of searching for cars is, I think, completely going to change.
So Sam, have you dropped Auto Trader altogether then?
Yeah, we've completely pulled away from Auto Trader altogether.
And how are your leads as a result of that, and where are they coming from?
Well, I said December, they're pretty quiet, but they were. But if we're looking back this time last year, I'd say we were spending £2,500 a month on Auto Trader, and we were getting no leads this time. And we're saving £2,500 a month at the moment compared to last year. We're with Car Gurus. Car Gurus have been very good for us. The platform advertises our stock onto Facebook. It also sends feeds out to Google Ads. So the platform's all integrated with Google Ads as well. So I manage that in-house. And hitting the locals hard. We have banners outside Morrison's, which is free. We've got an association. We're partnered with the local Totnes Food Bank, where 50 quid for every car sold goes to help feed a family in the area. So that's all plastered over Morrison's, and Morrison's have been great. They're not charging us for it. A massive banner. You can't miss it when you go in. So it's getting eyes on the brand, which doesn't just help sell the cars. We now get people saying, look, will you buy my car as well? So it sort of works both ways. So we're in all the little local magazines, the the guides, the Totnes Times, the Southam's directory, all that sort of stuff, which isn't expensive. It's not it's cheap advertising. Local advertising is fairly cheap.
So when it comes to picking stock, how do you choose the right stuff? Is it a case? How do you know whether it's going to be popular or not? Is it down to gut feeling now, or do you just stick to the stuff that has always worked for you and that's your wheelhouse?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everything that's worked for us in the past is always on our radar. But also, changing our stock profile slightly. A lot of it is gut feeling. A huge amount of it is gut feeling. So, little small automatics down here will fly. They fly, and we can get good prices for them. So we know that difficult to get hold of, but that's when we get offered cars. Locally, little Honda Jazzes, the Yeti that came in the other day, which which we bought, great cars, really great cars. So auction wise, we haven't bought at auction for some time now. I think I had a call from Mannheim saying, "Sam, are you all right?" Yeah, because we were there we were there every week buying five or six cars, and now we haven't bought from auction for a couple of months.
And that's because the stock comes to you.
The stock comes to us. We make use of virtually every part exchange that comes in, because literally down here there is a car for everyone. There really is. So if it's an old Peugeot 207 banger, we'll make it a banger for someone. We'll get it right. We'll fix it up. We'll buy it at the right price, hopefully. And yeah, we will sell it for a good margin. But so a lot of it now is gut feeling. Looking at the margin, less so than the retail rating. Well, we don't have access to that now. I mean, the platform does have access to, how popular the car may be, but it's all down to how you photograph it, where you're based, what you like, and all that sort of stuff. So, so we look at the valuations more than anything, and our gut feeling of whether that's suitable for our customers down here.
Are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, I mean, short answer, yes. Yeah, I'm certainly not throwing the towel in, but there have certainly been times where I've gone, I can't cope with this anymore. There have been times where I've literally head in my hands, going, I'm doing my very best, and it's always when a customer has an issue. That's the biggest problem, because the customers, you do everything for them, and then they go, I've just had to spend £200 on my car because this has gone wrong, 3-4 months down the line, and it's all your fault. Yeah. I mean, I even gave a car to my mother because she needed a car. And then I said, hi, Mum, how's the car? Well, it was fine until I had to spend £400 on it last weekend. I was like, don't you start. So yeah, times like that are horrendous. So in June, July, as I mentioned before, when we were having that tricky period, yeah, it was like, is this right for me? Is this the right industry for me?
And you do a lot of YouTube videos, don't you? They sort of seem to come out in series. I love following them. Does it help having that outlet to talk to people that just might be in a similar situation? Do you find it cathartic?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, as you know, James, it's very difficult to document stuff, especially when things are stressful and you've got to spend time sorting it out and your head's in the wrong place. And often when you pick up the camera, you don't want to be doing it when, a whole load of crap's in your mind, because you think you're going to come across as being boring, dull, or anything like that. But I have tried to document it all, and some videos have been pretty glum, but explaining what the situation is, and they're probably the most popular videos, to be honest. But no, I love doing the videos because it gets me away from the screen. We did do the weekly videos. We now stopped doing those slightly, but we might bring those back. But it was great to sort of not vent, but explain it's so useful doing that because people give their feedback and input, and that feedback is actually great. There's some really good switched on traders out there that watch these videos, and everyone sort of puts there's some utterly useless comments, obviously, but there are some, you just got to pick them out, but some of them are really good and useful. You know, if we've got a car that we're not particularly familiar with and we've got an issue with it, then we'll have someone, you know, say, we'll try this, maybe do that, and we do, and it's useful. So, and also we buy a lot of cars through subscribers as well.
Yes, and it is, I certainly enjoy doing them. And I do find it a nice place, like you say, to vent. And sometimes you need that when you're running a small business, don't you? It's what advice would you give to people thinking about following in your footsteps?
Well, I think back in the day, I think the thing that we always felt we needed to do was to jump in and get an auto trader package. It was like, we've got to join the big boys. We've got to advertise. We've got to go on the, you know, in the best places. You know, that I would say no, you don't need to do that. You know, if you're starting off on a driveway or something like that, you know, start turning the cars over in the cheapest possible way. Get to know your customers and also the stock that is going to work in your area. Don't suddenly just go and fly in with an auto trader package or anything like that. So really keep those overheads down, and you know, don't be afraid of your gut feeling. It's when you go in and initially and you want to sort of analyze all the data, you can get analysis paralysis, and you can actually not go ahead and buy that car. But if you think that car's right and you think your customers are going to buy it, it's within budget, the margin's there, go for it. Just go for it, and you'll only learn because that car may have a bit of an issue. You'll learn how to fix it. You know, maybe specialize in a certain range of cars. You know, we I wouldn't say we specialize, but we started having a lot of the discovery sports on. They worked really well for us. They were really good margins. Yes, they had problems, but we knew what problems they were, and we started stocking quite a few of them.
I find it incredibly addictive. I love, I sort of, for me, I really like the simplicity of car sales. And by that, I mean, you find a car, you buy the car, you fix it up a bit, and you sell the car. You know, it is very, very basic business. Yeah. And you just, as long as you sell the car for more than you bought it for, you're in profit, and hopefully things work out. And I think there's a lot of joy to be had in finding something that other people can't and selling it for a little bit more money. I mean, we've had a Saab 9-3 that we've had up for auction, John. It's done very, very well. But that was just, it fell into our lap, and we've done well as a result. So for those people out there who like the sound of that, would you recommend this industry as something people should get into, or having had the experiences you've had over the last few years, do you warn people off it?
Well, I mean, I'm I'd like to say I'm a bit of a fair weather car salesman, or car dealer, should I say? um, you know, I should be going out there and changing discs and pads. You know, I should be there doing you know, a lot of things. If you're hands on, you can save a lot of money. You can save a huge amount of money. And if you don't mind the running around and all that sort of, the running around drives me up the wall. And also, I don't know how to replace a set of brake discs yet. so, um, I'm more focused behind the screens. So, I mean, that's the whole idea of why I built that platform, is that for people who are going to go into the business, they are hands on. That this platform will take care of everything, and you know, on the side. So, yeah, I can recommend it depending on, you know, what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Definitely,
Yeah,
I really
I don't know
can.
where I sit on the recommendation front. I think it sort of depends where you are in life and what you want to get out of it. Because for some people, I just don't think it's right, because it is hard. And yeah, I'm very lucky that I'm running it as a side hustle, you know, in inverted commas. But I do get paid for doing this, so I'm very lucky in the fact that it doesn't need to pay the mortgage. But I think if it was going to be paying my mortgage, I would find it far, far more stressful than I do at the moment. I don't think I would do it.
Yeah. Well, you've now got 32 or so cars,
Well,
James.
yeah.
I mean, you've just ramped right up your stress. Well, Joe's stress levels anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's on holiday, so like he is normally.
Of course he is.
Of course.
And he's here with me. Joe, come on out.
So yeah, of course, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone at all. I mean, I think there are a lot of the elder generation getting into it at the moment. They've sort of got their jobs, and then they sort of want to create something with their son. He's a car fanatic, and they do it together. It makes sense if you can do it with another person, obviously, because you can share the stress and chat about stuff. Doing it alone, I think it's really, really difficult. Really difficult. You started alone, didn't you, James?
Yeah, I found it very, very, very hard as a result. But mentally very challenging.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of started it myself, but then Michelle jumped in with me, and that was great. It really helped. So yeah, I mean, having someone you can do it with and just share that, vent to each other, vent to YouTube, vent to your computer screen or whatever. So it is not for everyone, but
no. Sam, plug time. You've mentioned this platform a few times, but there'll be people listening to this who probably want to hear some more. So, opportunity to let them know where to find details.
Oh, right. Well, Carbotics. Yeah, carbotics.co.uk.
How do you spell that?
Carbotics.
Got you.
Carbotics.co.uk. So, as I said, yeah, it's I created it not by accident at all, but I just as my journey went on, knowing what I needed as a car trader starting up in the trade, not wanting to go to the expense of advertising, although it does link in with all auto traders and the motors and the car gurus. It's a platform where you can have a personalized website, you can upload your stock and everything like a normal DMS system would do, but in addition to that, it's got auction valuation buying tools, maximum bid tools. It's got a trade to trade portal, so if you've got a car that is hanging around, you can put it into trade, and it will go to all the other dealers on the system. It's got it's got an SEO studio, and we've linked up with Ahrefs, which is now SE ranking. So that's not all integrated into the platform. So all pages, including vehicle pages, can be analysed in great depth and optimized with a few clicks of the button. And we've got ChatGPT in the system as well. That will ChatGPT is more of a copywriter, not a source for data. The data needs to come from pure facts, and that's why we've got SE ranking integrated. And then ChatGPT picks out all of that information and then helps really optimize a page for a particular car. And we've got content studio as well, so articles, dealers can actually create articles and have them on their site. So that's all really important stuff to help build a website and make it really well optimized in your area, because that's all going to help people in their area search, and will maybe save them an advertising package or two. So there are new features coming out all the time, and it's a platform where dealers, if they've got a request for a feature, I'll build the feature. I'll integrate it in. It's that simple. It's do you want this? Do you not want that? And we have a WhatsApp group where we're all on it. So there's a support group as well. So, and everyone's we chat about various bits and the industry and everything. It would be great if we can have this on. Brilliant. Okay. By the end of the week, it's done.
As if you didn't have enough on your hands, Sam.
Well, during the June, July, it was like, right, bollocks to this.
I'm doing something else.
So I've been creating this in the background. Yeah, the cars have sort of been neglected in a way because it's taken 7 months or so to build it. But it's now all up and running. Dealers are all being onboarded, and they're all, our website at the moment, that's on the platform. And I wanted the website to sort of display the right information and also have AI in there as well. So when you go onto a car on any of the websites, there's an AI chat box at the bottom. You can ask it anything about that car, MOT history, and it will give you the information. How reliable is it? What are the normal issues with it? It will feed back information, because the idea is trying to keep the customer on that page and give them as much information on the car as possible before they bugger off and go and find a similar car. So it's got MOT history on it. A lot of car sites don't have MOT. Do you have MOT history on your?
Not on our site, no. I mean, well, because we put a new MOT on most of our stuff, so
Yeah, but I mean, everyone wants to see the MOT history of a car.
Yes.
You may as well just put it there. Show them.
Well, I mean, it sounds incredibly impressive, Sam. Nice plug. I'm sure people will follow it off the back of this podcast. Thank you for joining us today. But I think, John, we should probably do some stories. Now, a quick word from one of our sponsors. John, have you ever wondered why I, along with 14,000 other dealers, choose to partner with Auto Trader?
Well, actually,
I didn't think so. I'll tell you anyway. With more than 84 million consumer visits every month, it connects us with more engaged car buyers and delivers more deals than anyone else in the UK. And now, with the launch of Buying Signals, we'll have brand new insights on every deal, showing how likely a customer is to buy the car they're interested in. Plus, as someone who set out to use AI and data as much as possible in my business, I've found their technology, data and tools genuinely invaluable. But when I do get stuck,
which is, let's face it, most of the time,
Auto Trader is always on hand and committed to supporting us to get the very best from our package. To find out how they can help you, visit trade.autotrader.co.uk.
Yes, so James and I are going to run through our favourite stories of the week, and at the end, Sam gets to decide which one of us chose the best ones and who is the winner. I won last week, I think, because I talked about Zipcar disappearing from the UK.
We did.
Very sad news. But I'm going to start with Auto Trader, which I think is probably the biggest story of the week, and their tweaks to Deal Builder. So what they've done off the back of, do I have to go into all the Deal Builder furore? I don't think I do. But Auto Trader says it has listened to the feedback and it's had to play around with the system. And so fundamentally, from now on, there will always, I think, am I right in getting this right, James? There'll always be a reserve button there, but the reserve system that's caused some consternation with some dealers involving the £99 that Auto Trader takes and then the car is reserved, that is optional for dealers to put on. The other option is the customer can hit a button that says reserve and it sends a reserve inquiry to the dealer, and the dealer can then contact the customer and say, great, you want to reserve your car, that's lovely, why do you want to do that? And we will take a reservation fee of whatever we like, and we can make it non-refundable if that's the case, like you do, James, etc., etc. So that's a very short précis of the story, but I'm going to hand it over to you, James, because let me pose the question to you, James. Do you think this has fixed the problem?
I think it has helped the situation. I don't think it has fixed the problem completely, but what it has done is given dealers a little bit of choice. And that choice is very important, because that request a reservation means that for us, people will be able to come into our system and into our sales journey where we have a conversation with them first. My point on this is, the cars that we sell are mostly sub £10,000 used cars that people want to know everything about, but really importantly, want to know everything about the dealer and the person they're buying from too. It's very, very hard for someone to just go, actually, yeah, I love that car so much, I'm happy to put a £99 reservation down without even meeting the person who's going to sell it to them, and importantly, look after them when the problem goes wrong. So that needs a conversation. I have had conversations with people on the phone who want to reserve a car after they've chatted to us and after we've explained how we do business, explained how we look after people, how our warranties work. But for them to do that on another platform in advance of buying the car, I just can't see it happening. So we will certainly be going down the request a reservation route. We won't be doing the reservation on Auto Trader, because it means that we can talk to them and explain how we do things. And I think my gut feeling is most dealers will probably be the same. And it will be up to Auto Trader to prove that these customers want to reserve on Auto Trader's platform rather than ours. So I do think it helps that some of the dealers that I've spoken to this week feel better about it, but they're still not that happy. There are other issues afoot. The customers having to sign into the platform to submit an inquiry that happened from the end of September onwards is still causing people some problems. There are still some dealers who are not happy about that because they think leads are down. It's hard to tell at this time of year. We've already talked about the fact December is quiet, and it normally is. So it will be interesting to see how this pans out in the first quarter of next year, and see whether it does fix things. So yeah, a long answer to your very short question, John.
Well, that's a very good answer. Thank you, James.
You're very welcome.
I'm going to hand it over to Sam as another dealer, but of course, Sam, you're not on Auto Trader. But what have you made of this situation?
Well, we were an Auto Trader. One of the reasons why we stepped away was just having a bit more control. I don't want customers reserving cars without talking to me. I want to. Yes, this is a two-way transaction. We want to speak to them. We want to educate them about the car and all that sort of stuff. And that's another reason why we don't have an AI chatbot on our websites. We want to speak to them. And I think it's great that Auto Trader have done something to try and please the dealers, keep them on, retain their customers. But I don't think it's enough. And listening to various podcasts, and James, your one with the CEO, how they've tested this in the past to make a decision that this is the right direction, they're saying that Deal Builder is one of the biggest and the best features that they're bringing out in Auto Trader. Well, it doesn't really seem to be, and we're not seeing the proof. So yeah, I'm a bit of a control freak, and I really like to engage with my customers, and I want to be the one speaking to them, and from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, this came off the back of a meeting with journalists on Monday. There was a Christmas get-together where Nathan Coe, the CEO, was chatting to journalists, us included. Jack Williams went up there, and they obviously talked about Deal Builder at length. And Nathan said he was, and I quote, surprised and hurt by the level of criticism excuse me, the level of criticism the firm had received in the wake of the Deal Builder rollout. But he said he'd welcomed the constructive feedback dealers had given the firm. He did say he thinks it's one of the best products Auto Trader has launched, as you've mentioned there, Sam. So I mean, it's an interesting one, really, isn't it? I mean, he's clearly very much focused on Deal Builder, thinks that it is the future of buying cars. But I think the problem that they have is a large part of the trade don't agree.
No, I mean, it's like with any new product that any business brings out, look at the feedback and react. That they're looking at the feedback, but I don't think they're doing enough. As I say, their research was saying that this is the best thing to do for the customer and the dealer. As you say, if you request the customer to start logging in and signing up to a platform, that's an immediate barrier. It's an immediate barrier versus click, cool. does. I mean,
Yeah.
what is wrong with that? I mean, maybe it's just a case we're all just trying to be too clever now. We're trying to make everything really cool and easy and efficient for everyone, and that in this case, I think, is all starting to backfire. It's not. There's too many barriers.
I've been thinking about this a lot this week, John, and actually I've written for my Substack that's coming out today. What I would do if I was the CEO of Auto Trader, I'd just have a little think about what my plan would be. What would I do if I was sat in Nathan's chair? I won't give it all away because it's obviously in the Substack. But one of them was obviously about Deal Builder, and I just think I would just make it completely optional and just let those dealers that want to go back to the way they had it before have it the way they had it before. It's what their customers want, and I think that's important when you're charging dealers a lot of money to listen to them and let them choose how they want to use the platform too. And I think my biggest issue with this, and I think the motor trades, is the fact that it was mandatory and it has become mandatory. And I think really when you run your own business as an entrepreneur, you run your own used car site, you should have a bit of choice in how you transact with customers. Because personally, I don't think reserving in advance of seeing a car is the right way to do it.
No, I don't think either. I don't think it's either. And traders are auto traders customers at the end of the day. But the whole point of the deal builder, I think, is more weighted over to the consumer and trying to please them.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to move us away from Auto Trader and pick my first story. I'm going to pick a story that came out quite late on Friday last week, which is obviously after we recorded the podcast, but I think it's a very important one. And it was just, I don't think I've ever seen a situation like this come out in the press. And this is Volvo cancelling a dealer's contract with immediate effect after it moved into a temporary showroom. So this is the Brindley Group, who operate Volvo, or did operate Volvo, in Wolverhampton. Now, they'd been issued with a 2-year notice period from the Swedish car manufacturer because their chairman said they refused to sell the dealership to the brand's preferred bidder. Now, the site obviously had been operating for 2 years for Volvo, but they were coming towards the end of that 2-year period. They had 6 months left, and at that point in time, the dealer group needs to decide what it's going to do next and how it's going to continue to do business. So it had decided to take on Chery as a new partner for the group and needed to renovate the Volvo showroom as a result. So as part of that, it moved Volvo into temporary accommodation. Now, this is very normal, they say, when you're renovating a showroom, but Volvo took immediate exception to this, and they issued the business with a termination, which was effective immediately. The chairman, Che Watson, said in a very detailed social media post, which basically gave away pretty much all of it. He said, "We decided to relocate our growing Hyundai business and to begin a new partnership with Chery, who'll operate from the former Hyundai showroom. And to support these changes, both the buildings required modification," he said. The work began in late November, and during the construction, we continued to operate the Volvo business in temporary accommodation. It's standard practice, he said. But Volvo took exception to this arrangement and issued an immediate termination. We did speak to Volvo about what they had to say about this. They issued a very vanilla statement saying Volvo remains committed to delivering high standards of service and care that our customers expect. And it said it's going to be looking for a new partner in the area. The row didn't stop there, though, John. As part of this statement, Che Watson said that any customer who'd ordered a Volvo from them and wanted to cancel their order, he would do them a very special deal on a new car from one of his other brands. He said, "I'm happy to offer any alternative car in our portfolio at cost price." I mean, talk about stick the knife in. So yeah, it's very unusual to see a story like this erupt into the public, and clearly two businesses there who have been at loggerheads for a while, but yeah, interesting to see how it's boiled over. What did you think? Did you see it, John?
I did see it. I mean, you have to forgive me because I'm slightly out of the loop. But yeah, I was trying to get my head around this because, as they say, it's not unusual to operate your site from one that's undergoing construction, because I mean, lots of if you were to take on a new Volvo franchise tomorrow, James, and you went down the road and you found a nice facility that was a former Peugeot dealer or whatever, you could start selling those cars before all your CI was in place for Volvo, could you not? Because I'm sure, I think it might have been John O'Hanlon was saying when they started, they were operating fundamentally out of a port cabin and a construction zone for their Volvo sites. This is clearly not to do with unless Volvo's policies have changed dramatically in the last 3 years. I don't think it's to do with the construction element. It's something else, isn't it? Like they've
clearly fallen out, haven't they?
Yeah, which is disappointing. But there we are. I mean, who knows? Maybe it doesn't sound like Volvo are trying to get rid of a franchise in that area because they're trying to pass it on to somebody else. What was this situation with the 2-year notice period? Because as Volvo said to Brindley, we don't want you to represent us anymore.
Yeah, I mean, most franchises operate on a 2-year termination notice. So at the point in time where they said that they wouldn't sell it to their preferred bidder, the manufacturer's preferred bidder, they were obviously issued this termination notice. And I think at that point in time, they can give it to whoever they want, that franchise to whoever they want in the area. But yeah, interesting to see it all boil over, though, isn't it? And just be so public. I don't know, Sam, did you see the story?
I didn't, but I didn't see the story at all. But it's just I don't like it at all. As John was saying, there's clearly a personal issue here, and that's a real shame, because that just then it starts affecting everyone. But to give them notice and tell them to go, and then also, as you say, to tell all the customers that if they want to hand their car back, they can do.
Slight PR disaster there for Volvo. We'll park it there, John. We'll park it there. You move us on.
And I'd just like to balance out the coverage of Volvo. I'd just like to show you this excellent Japanese Volvo magazine that I bought to go with my lovely long-termer
Volvo EX30 series. I mean, that is proof that in Japan they will do a magazine on literally anything.
They absolutely will. It's very in-depth, actually. Anyway, I'm going to move on to talk about a different car maker now, which is Ford, because they've come out with some surprising news this week, which is that they will be borrowing Renault's electric underpinnings for some of their cars going forwards. So they're going to borrow the platform that's underneath the Renault 5 and the Alpine A290 and the Renault 4, and of course the Nissan Micra and whatever else other cars are on this particular platform, to underpin some future Ford electric cars. And, there's lots of the usual PR wonderfulness of, it's great to be teaming up with Renault, and Renault saying, it's great to be teaming up with a powerhouse like Ford, and And of course, magazines like Auto Express, your former employer, James, have gone to town with this and started rendering the new Fiesta is coming. And it probably is, because that is a small electric car platform. So it does look a bit like we're going to have a Franco-American tiny electric Ford Fiesta company. Now, like Ford says, this is going to be very different to a Renault. They say it's going to have, it's going to be made in a French factory alongside of the Renault 5 and so on, this forthcoming small car. And it's going to drive like a Ford, and it will look like a Ford and so on. I'm not entirely sure about that, as to how that will work in reality. I think it will still feel a bit Renault-y. But it won't be here until 2028, which is some time away. So I think, it's interesting as a story, because clearly Ford, like other car makers, are going, there's lots of Chinese cars coming. We haven't really got our brains in gear to the electric bit. I think Ford have had their fingers burnt on electric cars, because the Capri and the Explorer, they built this, they shut down production of lots of popular Ford models in Europe to concentrate on making these two cars. They've not exactly been a runaway sales success across Europe. I think they're doing okay in the UK, but not brilliantly on the rest of the continent. And then I think they've kind of dawdled a bit because no new products have come out since those two cars were announced, and we're going to have to wait another 2 years before these, or 2 and a bit years, until these new cars arrive. I don't know, James. It seems a little bit slow and a bit reactionary. This.
Well, I mean, I thought the interesting quote on this was in the Financial Times from Ford CEO Jim Farley, and he said, "We're in the fight for our lives and our industry, and there is no better example than here in Europe." And he was referencing the those Chinese car makers and the threat that they pose to these established players like Ford and Renault here in Europe. I think this is clearly proof that there is a very difficult situation for these established car makers. They're going to struggle with these Chinese players coming in with the cheap products that they're doing, and if they don't do these sort of collaborations, then they're not going to survive. And this is proof of that. They needed to do it, and Ford, let's face it, desperately needed help. They haven't got enough products. They're losing dealers left, right, and centre. They're absolutely shedding market share. They needed the help, so hopefully this will do it.
I just wonder if it's going to be too late. I mean, I should say also, Renault are getting something out of this arrangement, apart from more cars going down the production line, the factory they own. They've also said they're going to collaborate on LCVs, like commercial vehicles, which of course is the one thing that Ford does quite well in Europe and makes quite a bit of money off. It's really supporting the rest of their business. So perhaps we'll see some Ford-based Renault vans coming out in the not too distant future. Who knows? Sam, what do you make of this?
Well, I think they're taking their time. Was it 2028? I mean, a lot can happen between now and then, and we've got God knows how many electric cars in, with tied up in leases with businesses, and they're all going to be coming to the end of their leases and then going into the market. There's going to be a lot of electric cars being bought at quite reasonable prices soon. I mean, James, do you know what the ratio is between new cars being bought by private individuals versus businesses? Have you got that data?
Not to hand, but it's definitely in the SMMT. It's definitely in the SMMT figures every month. But I mean, fleet users definitely outweigh retail buyers every month.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, whether we're going to see those come into the second-hand car market, and I mean, I just think it might. It's a long time. I'd be a bit concerned. Maybe the French, whether the French need to stop taking their 2-hour lunch breaks and then speed it up a bit by 6 months or so. I don't know.
Can I just throw in one more bit of corporate tittle-tattle on this, which is like those cars that I've mentioned, the Capri and the Explorer, both quite famously Volkswagen-based products, same platform as the ID4 and ID3. Volkswagen has an ID2 coming out that they've been shouting about for quite some time. Why is Ford not borrowing the underpinnings from that? I wonder if Ford and VW, or Ford perhaps not very happy with the VW-based products they've been getting. I don't know. I can't see why. And, there's a big collaboration between Ford and VW. Ford and VW vans already exist. Why are they not doing the same thing for those cars, the smaller platform?
I have no answer for you, John, so I'm going to move us on. My last story, I would just like to wedge in, is about Cox, BCA and Aston Barclay. So this is Cox Automotive warning the CMA, the Competition Markets Authority, that Constellation's acquisition of Aston Barclay could hand their rival BCA an unfair dominance in the auction market. In a Phase 2 submission, Cox has rejected claims that Aston Barclay was a failing firm, which was mentioned in all of BCA's submissions to the CMA, and they quoted senior staff. This is Cox quoting senior staff from Aston Barclay, who had called 2024 a strong year. It said the deal removes a key competitor and challenged the assertions made by Constellation, highlighting Aston Barclay's unique scale and influence. So the CMA's investigation is continuing to this, with a preliminary decision due in January 2026. But I fear that this one's not over, John. I think Cox is clearly not very happy about this collaboration, and I'm unsurprisingly so. And they're trying to protect their Mannheim business, aren't they? But BCA buying this Aston Barclay, I mean, it was announced quite some time ago. The CMA investigations obviously delayed things quite drastically. Be interesting to see whether it actually goes through. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just to translate some of the legalese there, I mean, effectively, Mannheim is saying, well, one of the things Mannheim is saying is that in, I don't know which report there or CMA submission or whatever they're referring to, but in the they're counteracting a submission that said Cox is an enormous, Mannheim's an enormous business. And their point is, well, yeah, okay, Cox Automotive is big worldwide, but Mannheim is not actually that enormous here in the UK. So, we're not talking about, their point is, it's not here's BCA and here's Mannheim at the same level, and here's Aston Barclay down here in the minnows of the auction world in the UK. It's actually saying, well, no, actually, Aston Barclay is a big player, and if BCA comes and snaps them up, you are going to create this enormous beast, and there's no one really rivaling them in terms of size. So it's interesting to see a company saying, actually, we Mannheim are not as big as you might think, and Aston Barclay actually is quite a successful company. It's sort of the opposite of normal PR in a way, isn't it? That you're picking up your rivals slightly.
Yeah. I mean, Cox had said in this that they didn't believe Aston Barclay had pursued any options when it came to sales, and said that if the Constellation deal hadn't happened, it probably would have explored selling sites separately. So I think they're just a little bit annoyed that the way that they were just Aston Barclay was snapped up, because I think Aston Barclay had been saying that they needed to do the deal because of their situation, but Cox have gone back into reports showing that Aston Barclay said they were doing incredibly well. So, like you say, a bit of tittle tattle here, but you never know what's going to happen in January.
Because it's difficult for Cox at the moment, isn't it? I mean, they own Auto Trader, isn't it? Is Auto Trader
No,
owned by Cox Automotive?
I think they used to have some form. No, I think Cox used to own Motors, didn't they? That
They
was
did.
it. Cox used to
Yeah.
own Motors.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I think they own autotrader.com, possibly, just to confuse things, which is a different entity.
Yeah, maybe that's why I was looking at it. It's like, oh, cripes, well, Cox is involved with that.
Well, that's my last story, John. So I think you could probably find out who the winner is, maybe.
So, Sam, before I ask for your verdicts, are there any stories you think we've missed this week?
Oh well, there was a couple of stories I read. There was a lovely little. There's a well, it's a slightly sad story. It's closures of dealerships. A VW dealership in, where is it? Family run business, and it's been going for years. Have shut the doors, and VW are now looking to try and source other, try and find other, another business to sort of take on the. I'm trying to think whereabouts it was. I think it was.
Doncaster.
Was it Doncaster?
Yeah, Doncaster.
Do you know the name of it, James?
Halesden was the dealer group, and they ended the operations of Volkswagen and Skoda showrooms with immediate effect, sadly collapsing into administration, leaving their staff out of work just weeks before Christmas.
That was it. And there was a big backlash saying, we've been done over and all that sort of stuff. But as a business, if you're insolvent, you can't trade. It's illegal to trade. You have, if it's before Christmas or is it right in the middle of summer, there's never a good time to go into administration. But you have to by law do it. So I feel strongly for the employees. Why they went into administration is question. They're good, strong branded cars. VW, Skoda. What's going on? What went wrong?
Yeah, I mean, somebody texted me off the back of that and said they hadn't heard of a Volkswagen or Skoda dealer going into administration for 25 years. So I think they're the sort of brands that don't normally end up in that way. So something clearly gone very wrong there.
Yeah. So yeah, that sort of strung a chord with me that this week reading about poor chaps being done over before Christmas. Well, not done over, but unfortunately having to lose their jobs.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But of the stories that we've mentioned,
Well, I mean, when you started, John, with Auto Trader, I was like, "Oh, you know what? I don't know. I don't care how good this story is. It ain't going to make the cut." Then we swung over to James. It was like, okay, let's see what's going on here. And then we went back over to John, and I'm afraid, James, the most interesting one for me is John's story about of what, because I'm very interested in what's going to happen with over the next 2 years. Is it going to be too late? What's going to happen with technology over the next 2 years? I
I
mean,
don't want to interrupt, but I think I've got an earthquake happening at the moment.
Have you really?
Yes.
Have you
Genuinely,
really?
the building's wobbling. Sorry, carry on.
I mean, do you need to evacuate? Yes or no?
No, my phone's not doing anything.
Oh my
Well, I'm on the
word!
9th floor, so this is slightly concerning.
Dear, oh dear.
Carry on. This is the first of the podcast.
right, John?
I think. Well, John. I mean, if the building does collapse, good news is you've won.
Yeah.
I
Check
will
your glass of
absolutely
water,
take it.
John.
Quick,
well.
you need to wrap things up just in case you do need to get out of your little room.
Yeah. On that very strange note, well, thank you to Sam for coming on and talking about your business today and letting me win, which is wonderful.
Yeah, pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Nice to see you, Sam. Best of luck with all of those endeavours.
Thanks so much. Take care, chaps.
And thank you as well to James for joining us from his padded cell. And thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode. So make sure you're subscribed so you can be notified when that goes live. If you want to check out the stories we mentioned today, take a look in the show notes below or head to cardealermagazine.co.uk. We didn't talk about Car Dealer Live, James.
No, we mentioned it last week, but if you want tickets, cardealerlive.co.uk on early bird until the end of the year.
Yes, so get on it. Thanks for listening and goodbye.